everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm Richard Carlton at fmtrain.tv, where every day is a great FileMaker Training day. If you want to support the channel, you love the channel, you love us. If you want to support the channel, go to one of these training bundles and purchase one of the training bundles. The money goes into paying largely Margaret's salary and paying her bills. So that would be great by one of our subscriptions. So now let's pivot to HOnza. So HOnza, I don't know what we're doing today.
Today, I'm going to talk again about one of my favorite topics, and that's performance. And before I dive into the case study, I have something that I published just before the Christmas because just 2 weeks before Christmas, I managed to get access to whole bare metal machine from Fabrice Norman, FM Cloud FM, the hosting provider, and I got access to it for just 2 weeks to try it out and test the performance. So I got the idea, okay, when I'm going to test performance of hosting, it would not be so interesting if I was the only only person testing it. So I quickly created a hosting edition of bench test to allow anyone test the different hosting options. And I managed to get several different options available for testing. Some of them are available until the end of January, but two of them only until next Tuesday. And those are FileMaker Cloud instances, which I got from Claris for testing. So if
they volunteered to let you test their stuff,
yes,
did they volunteer? They did.
Well,
I'm afraid of what the results would say, and I'm kind of scared that you're going to say the results.
But what I'm not sure is whether the guy who provided me with the test instances really 100% understood what I'm going to do with them. The test results are published immediately after the test is complete. Anyone can go in and try performance of the available test hosts, which are around the world, including US, Austria, Europe, and there is one in Australia and one in Japan as well. So you can go there, try it out on the bench test webpage. There is information how to try it, and there are also the results, and there is a dedicated tab for hosting, which already shows more than 40 results collected from.
Okay, can I ask a quick question? Is a bigger number the little green, like 3.9, 4.7, 5.9?
Yes, it's a score, so bigger number means better.
And then I have a question: are you testing the performance between the client and the server? Are you testing the performance just on the server? Because
yes,
a lot of clients will be, yeah, well, okay. I need to ask yes to which one, because the clients are really subjective because of latency to the server, right?
Yes, exactly. So what I'm always testing is trying to be as close as possible to the real situation of the user. So what is being tested is a FileMaker client connecting to the hosting and performing different tasks which normal users perform when they work with databases. So
okay, but if I look at like that top one up there, it says London, right? And it's got 10.5, so it must be the most, or 10.1. So the most amazing speed. That's great. But London to where? Like London to California, that's not going to be the best thing for me.
So
right?
it's this shows what machine FileMaker version it's
in Paris. So Paris, France to London.
In France,
okay.
And connecting to FM Cloud.fm instance in London. And this even shows the price of that kind of instance. So it's a 59 per month kind of hosting being tested.
So Northampton, United States to Richmond, Virginia. See, that's interesting because those should be pretty close and pretty speedy. All right. That's interesting. I would organize it differently, but it's not me. It's your product, so that's fine. I would always put the average or the latency on that, so you knew what you were dealing with, right? Between the client and the server.
There are also more details here. Like if you click the I here, you get like network latency. You get the
Yeah.
CPU speed of the
Well,
server, and
because the issue is that we're skewing that 10.1 is kind of is heavily skewed based upon the latency more than anything else. So
yes, exactly.
and so yeah, I would put that up there, but that's just me. All right. Well, that's cool.
And so this is just very fresh. And as I mentioned, the FileMaker Cloud instances are only available until next Tuesday. Then they will vanish after that. So if anyone wants to try it out,
did you
it's
try it out?
sorry again.
What were their scores? What was their latency and what was their score, right?
Yeah. This is, for instance, one test result of FileMaker Cloud.
So that's Prague, Czech versus in I guess Central Europe. Is that where that is? Central Europe?
Yeah, they didn't provide any more details, but I believe it's in Frankfurt.
Okay, because they're in Amazon data centers, and they have to. It can't be what Amazon calls an edge location. It has to be a real region, a real data center with a real region, right?
Yeah, so the only thing that I was able to get is when I got the host name of that FileMaker Cloud instance, it resolves as a CNAME to something, and in the name there is Central Europe or Europe Central, and in for the US one, it states US West.
Okay, yeah, U.S. West. Yeah, U.S. West is
It's this one.
typically Portland, Oregon, up that way somewhere, or it can be in San Jose, so California. So
Yeah,
U.S. West. There's
something
a
like
couple
that.
of U.S. Wests. So anyway, yeah, cool. Well, that's good. So that's
So yeah, there is a question from David Angel, whether all tests are against FM Cloud. Not, they are not. Anyone can contribute additional test hosts. Right now, I have like maybe 10 instances of FM Cloud .fm, because Fabrice was so great to simply set up a test host in each of his data centers for me. Then I have got one instance of FMP host in Richmond. I have two instances of hosting provided by HOnza.de in Germany.
okay.
So that's and one test host in Brno in Czech Republic. But if you have any good hosting that you would like to include there, you can just open that solution, click that green button, and submit that host. There are instructions how to do it and how to prepare that test host for the testing. That's the news from just before Christmas.
Okay.
And now the case study, which I wanted to talk about today.
Mm.
So that's actually about the company that made me actually start with FileMaker optimizations completely. So it was back in this company is called Andromeda Ren. They have a FileMaker solution for rental equipment for music productions or for audio equipment. And the problem that they have always been having is like they have a list of all the different equipment available. They have bookings for the equipment, and when someone comes, well, I want 3 guitars, 5 speakers, 10 microphones, whatever, and I need them for an event that's taking place next week from Monday to Friday. They need to find out what's available and whether all the equipment is available for that period, and whether there are any collisions with existing bookings. The first time they contacted us and asked for help was in 2007, and they needed help optimizing the solution, making it faster, because it was taking maybe an hour for their script at that time to evaluate the collisions between the request and the existing bookings. So at that time, we helped them by creating a plugin which made calculation of evaluation of the collisions much faster than using FileMaker calculations. And that actually convinced me to start thinking about, well, how I can optimize FileMaker solutions. And that was my personal first touch of FileMaker performance optimization. And this company kept coming back to us with requests to help them more and more every few years. So just like I like to say that even when you optimize a solution, it still can be optimized further. And this company is a very nice proof of that, because every time they optimized it with or without our help, then eventually the solution grew. They were able to handle more requests, more complex requests, whatever, and suddenly they ended up needing more optimization again. So it's a cycle that keeps happening. And the core problem or core principle when comparing request for booking with the existing reservations is that you have a range of dates on both sides. So, for instance, in this case, from 10th to 13th of September, and you need to find out whether the reservation, and actually find all the reservations that are colliding with your request. And the most obvious way to do it is through relationship with greater than or equal, or less than or equal. And many people already know that these relationships are very slow. Even before contacting us, this guy already implemented a solution that actually Nick Orr came up with for the first time. And that was converting this range on one side of the relationship to a list of numbers representing those dates. So this number actually is a numeric value of 10th of September of 2023. And so this is like a multiple keys in the same field for the relationship. So this is
Okay,
2000.
so look, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to ask questions from
Mhm.
people here. So you had the original the slower version of this was you had a relationship where you had the greater than or less than in there for the date range,
Mhm.
something like that. And
Yes.
that's slow. But if you actually take the affected dates and you itemize them out into a value list, a date, a number or date, ding, 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 ding. And then you set it equal. So this is a it's not a compound key. Is this what we call a multi-predicate key? Am I using the right word on that, Hansa? I think it's
I believe the usual name is multi-key.
multi-key. Okay, I have to check on that because there's compound keys, which are a combination of multiple fields. Then
I
there's the idea where you have the field and related to the field, but you can have multiple values in there. That is a FileMaker specific feature. It's not generally other database systems, right?
Mhm.
And so it's kind of this Margaret's is about an intermediate level person. She's seen me train on this. She doesn't remember it. She's never used it. It's really using this kind of thing as an advanced skill set generally. So I'm just framing it. You can continue now, but I want to frame this kind of
Mhm. Yeah.
conversation. If you're looking for
But
more advanced speed performance, having the dates itemized. So if you had 20 dates over here on the left with a date range, instead of using greater than or less than, that kind of thing, you would actually have 20 values over here.
yeah,
In
actually, it's one step further, because if you are looking for to match one value against a date range,
uh-huh.
that's where Nick's idea come into play and helps a lot, because then you can use the equal predicate comparing one value to a list of values. But if you want to check for collisions, this doesn't work, because you would have to have the list of dates on both sides, but that still doesn't give you much more, because and the other side is the other thing is you cannot make that list too long. For instance, if you have 2000 values, if the range is 2 years, if someone rents equipment for 2 whole years, and in this customer's case, sometimes this actually happens that they have very long rentals. It's no longer suitable for this case. But
Okay.
anyway, I'll get to the next
Too
one.
much of a good thing. I got it. All right.
Yeah. So basically, in the beginning, what we helped them to with was generating the range of dates as a list, because doing that in that time there was no while function, so the only way to do it was a recursive custom function, and that was taking a lot of time to evaluate. And the other thing was they actually needed to through the relationship to calculate the number of specific equipment being actually reserved and deducted from the total count to find out how many are available. So they let's say they found 1,000 records over a relationship. Each record was like number of microphones or something, and they needed to calculate the total. So if they use the summary in FileMaker, it was very slow. So they found out that just taking those numbers as a list and then having a plugin function calculate the summary to total of that list of numbers was much faster than using FileMaker to calculate the total. So that's what we did back in 2007. And this was after the second optimization, where we actually managed to help them to get from tens of minutes to fractions of a second with what they were calculating back 2015 already. So that was 8 years ago, or almost 9. As we talked about the date ranges, and you
Sorry.
mentioned, right?
I was just going to interrupt. I didn't unmute myself. I apologize. That's a really good testament right there. And I'm going to reemphasize that for those of you wondering how to be successful in business. Having customers who fires are hanging over the edge on burning. It's like someone who's burning their marshmallow, but it's there. And you ever had marshmallows over a campfire, HOnza? You don't want it to actually totally catch fire, probably, right? If that's your customer's business and then you can solve their problem by getting it out of the fire, you have a customer for life, mostly, right? So,
yeah. So the next level, as we already discussed, the greater than predicates in relationships, that's killing the speed. So when they turned back to us for another optimization, we actually try to take a look at the relationship and come up with a way how to replace that with the equal relationship. So obviously the first idea was, let's see, we have a list of dates on both sides and calculate them. The problem is that if you have very long list on both sides, FileMaker still has to like compare every pair of values. So if you have a list of 10 dates on left side and 100 dates on the right side, FileMaker actually, to evaluate just those matching records, that single record that has those 100 values, FileMaker has to compare the combination, 1,000 combinations of
right.
all the values
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And so it's not like having one ID on both sides, but for every single record to evaluate whether it matches the relationship or not, it still has to go through 1,000 evaluations, and that's also not very fast. So we were thinking of how to make those lists smaller to minimize the number of evaluations. And for long ranges, the obvious idea that we came up with was, okay, so if I have a long range, like 1 week or 1 month, how about representing it with a single value, not the whole list of days, right?
Yeah, but okay. So, but that's dependent upon the start and end dates being the same, right? Always starting on the cert, right? Because if you have 7 days here and 7 days that are like slightly offset, right? I don't know if you can see my moving my hands here. If they all line up
Exactly.
like that, they're fine. But if they're like that, it's no bueno, right? So
Yes, exactly. So this was the obstacle, and instead of like giving up, we thought, okay, this is going to work well if we find a way how to work around that obstacle. Okay. So this is the problem that you mentioned. If I have like two ranges which are overlapping, but in one case it's a whole week, in the other case it's just one day of that week, that relationship would not work.
yep.
So there is one way. If I also include partially occupied weeks, so for instance, this yellow week is represented by this single value, then
Okay.
it matches the full week on the right side.
All right. I know that you're like brilliant and I'm pretty stupid, but I don't understand what you just did.
So
How do you have a partial that matches a full?
on the left, basically here, the numbers here are the dates. So 7738773 is one day, and so on. And to represent this whole week as a single value, instead of having a list of 7 values, I just have a single value which represents that
I got
week.
it. That part I get. I get that part. Okay.
So, but here I have, for instance, on the right side, I have the whole week here,
Yeah.
which is this value.
Yeah.
On the
And it
left side, I have only 2 days in that week.
correct.
Those are represented by these values.
Yeah. Which will cause it to go slow. So what do you do?
So in order to get a match, because there is a obviously collision between those two ranges, uh, we got the idea. So let's add this week to this list of values, because it's there is at least one day of that week occupied.
So this is like that the old line. There's not is close doesn't count except horseshoes and hand grenades, but this is like a close thing, right? It's close.
Mhm.
It's not exact. It's close. So then you're going to have a subset of records that'll, yeah. So what
Yeah.
you did is you represented 2 days over there. Hang on, let me draw. I'm going to draw. Where's my drawing stuff? Give me my draw. All right. So you have 2 days over here. Need a different color on the draw. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
That are
So,
represented by a full 7 days, right?
mhm.
So then you get the match, but it's not really super. You know that there's something there, but you might have to like take.
There are those 2 days also individual listed. So they
Yeah,
would
but you wouldn't want those because that's going to slow it down, right? So
so if those, for instance, if those 2 days are, if this week is not fully occupied, then you want to have these values here to match those individual days here. But then this approach solves only one half of the problem.
right.
What if I have the full week here,
Yep.
which is this,
That. Yep.
and there is just one day on the right side?
Yeah. Then
So
you got to bake. Yeah.
so the second half of the problem can be solved the same way on the other side. So in this case, on the left side, I have only full weeks represented as single values.
Mhm.
But on the right side, I also include any week that has at least one day occupied.
So you roll up all the individual days into full weeks. That gets you close, but it's not a precision weapon,
Yeah.
right?
So basically, this relationship gives me all the individual day matches, and it also gives me all matches where at least one day is occupied on the left side of in a week, and on the right side it's a full week. This one gives me again all the individual matches, but also those where full week on the left side matches at least one day in that week on the right side.
Yeah.
So then the only thing I have to do is I have to combine them together and I get all the related records that I was looking for. And if that single evaluation is 10 times faster, even though I have to do 2 instead of 1, it's still 5 times faster than the original approach. The only problem remaining is if I want to get the values from the right side and calculate the total, those individual matches will appear in the list twice. So I also need to remove those duplicates from the collected records. And so instead of just bringing the counts from the right side, I have to bring the combination of ID and count.
Okay.
And then a plugin function comes into play again, because then I have a modified version of the plugin function, which goes through that list, removes the duplicate IDs, or I can actually remove the duplicate IDs with FileMaker native unique values function, and then just calculate the total, but ignore the prefix, which is the ID.
You said that Nick Orr came up with this?
Nick came up with the idea of turning date range into a list of individual values
Yeah, that was
for
smart.
the multi-key
And then
list.
you took it and extended it further, right? Yeah, you folks are smart people. That's why we like to have smart people on the show. If it was
And
the show was just me, we'd all be dumb. But yeah,
so
it's more
so
than me.
so very simple explanation here. Let's say I have IDs of records here. Sorry, let's extend it.
Anyone else stuck? Is he just doing this just for me? Anyone else not fully? I mean,
And I have some numbers here, okay? And
Yes.
let's say
it's awful quiet.
I have a relationship that one relationship brings me these records. So this is what I get through one relationship. Sorry. And then the second one brings me, for instance, these records. So
Okay.
again, I get this. So through the two relationship, I get a list of records this way. Some are there twice because they are brought by two relationships. So this one is
When you
there
say two
twice.
relationships, you mean legitimately two relationships? Or you mean two
Yeah,
criteria in
yeah.
the
So these are the two relationships.
okay, but you could do this, or is there an or in there? Or it's and. It's not an or. It's a okay. Yeah. So
No,
there's literally two relationships. Okay.
you actually have to have two relationships, one is and two different multi-key calculations on both sides.
Got it. Okay. So two
So
legit relationships, then you're combining the results in that
yeah,
calculation,
yeah. So
right?
this is one relationship with partial
Yeah.
weeks on left,
Okay.
and
Now I
I'm
got about
taking the,
2/3 of this, David. David, other people are lost too. It's not just me.
so basically with the list function, I get all the values from that single relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the first relationship gives me let's say I'll delete it again, and let's say the first relationship gives me records 1 through 7,
Okay.
and the second one gives me records 5 to 10.
Okay.
Okay, so what I define as the value to get back with the list function is a combination of the ID and the value.
Okay.
So I get this value, then some delimiter. It can be typically top or space, whatever, but I can use pipe to make it more obvious. So this is what I get here from
Okay.
one relationship. And I just have to if I So 5 to 10 means I begin here. So these are the values I get from one relationship, and these are from the
So we have
second.
some overlap. Yep.
And we have some overlap, yeah. So these values are there twice. But because I use the unique values function,
Oh, then it removes. You keep
that
one of them.
removes the duplicates
Yep.
because
Yep. Yep.
and the only thing left is then I need a plugin function that takes this. So I need a function that takes this list and calculates the total of the values after the pipe, simply removing that prefix.
So you did it in a plugin because you're good with plugins, or because it was the only way to do it, or why?
Mainly because it was fast to calculate it in a plugin. Using custom function, it would we first did it as a custom function, but that was a prototype. And once we made a proof of concept with the custom function and it worked, we just turned it to a plugin function that was 100 times faster.
Jesus, really? Okay. Okay, because custom functions are about as fast as FileMaker operates. That's the top engine speed in the product. The custom functions are really fast. So we talked about that custom functions a couple days ago. So you used a plugin which used what, C sharp or C plus plus, or what'd you
Yeah, C++.
do? And then that
So,
executed the math much faster even on that. Okay.
exactly. So David is asking whether JavaScript can be used in a web viewer. Yes, definitely. It will not be as fast as a plugin function, but it will still be a lot faster than calculation of a custom function or a while.
Yeah, and FileMaker. That's really interesting. Hopefully some of you getting value from this. I know Ed's. So Ed, basically the short version of this for people who are more intermediate or beginner or whatever. Ed's kind of an intermediate guy. At least that's my impression, and I'm not picking on Ed. So you have a relationship that's slow as and so you have to find ways of doing it. So you get smart people in the room and they come up with a way of instead of using greater than or less than, the dates get represented by individual items, but then that's still slow. So then you create a range on left and right. So it locks on. Once it locks on, then and with two or three different relationships, then you use this function. So I'm doing a summary here. Then you use this, what you see on screen right now, which combines the results of the two relationships, the matching records, and it removes the duplicates. And then after that, you do some other munging with the plugin after this, correct? That's after this.
So basically, the three approaches that I talked about. First, having the less than or greater than.
Yep. And that's the default. I think most junior intermediate developers could do that. That's fine.
And the reason for that being so slow is because FileMaker, to evaluate that in a relationship, cannot find the matching values in the index immediately. It has to scan the whole index because index is by individual values. So it needs to go through all the values which are less than or equal or greater than the matching value and collect all the records from that index. So instead of finding just one node in the index tree, it has to scan the tree beneath a specific threshold. Then the faster way, obviously, is having the list of numbers or list of values. But again, as the list grows and as it grows on both sides of the relationship, it actually has to evaluate the match between every combination of values for records which do not match.
I'm going to read the comment from Shiegel. I'm basically getting the idea that this is, I'm basically getting the idea of this, but using a real world example with a small amount of made up data would be helpful to show where you'd use this and what the result would be, even if it was represented in Excel like you are doing.
Okay, thanks for that. I may prepare something for the future thing, but right now I don't have the real data.
Yeah, I kind of
So
figured. I'm just like throwing that suggestion out there. So
yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, if I have a long list on both sides, it's too many combinations to evaluate. So the idea was to come up with a shorter list of values. Like in this specific example in the slides, I still have like a list of 4 values on the left side and list of something 5, 7 values on the right side. 7 by 7 times 4, that's 30 to 28 evaluations. And when I have this, I have only 2 times 3, which is 6 evaluations. So I'm saving a lot of time. So even if I have to do it twice, it's still a lot of savings.
which is very cool. Someone asked again how much time you're saving doing this because they're curious.
Okay, so in this particular case, we got another testimonial, and we saved about 2/3 of the time being used in the previous version. And
So to be clear, at 6.1 milliseconds, no one gives a shit, but the problem is that this cartwheels into minutes. And so you go from 5 or 10
yeah,
minutes down to 1 or 2
so
seconds.
exactly, if it's milliseconds, what you as a response to what you do, it doesn't really matter. But if that millisecond value is multiplied by 1,000 evaluations, like for instance, they had a portal, and in that portal, this calculation had to be done for every single record multiple times. So if you multiply it by 1,000, you have a difference between 6 and 2 seconds, and that's significant.
That's for a one-to-one relationship only, is a question from David.
No, it's never one to one. It's one to many. On the left side, I have a reservation request, and on the right side, I have all existing reservations, and I'm finding collisions. And on the right side, I can have millions of records.
We got another question from David. You evaluate both key lists and place in the left only one that matches.
You might want to try, hey, Hansa, the value today is getting people to understand this. You want to try like one more time on it from kind of the beginning on it, right? And then David, as you get, if you don't understand something, just stop, raise your hand, and we will stop, right? Yeah. Because I don't want to get to the end and have you stuck.
So again, on both sides, I have 2 calculations calculating the multi-key value. So one calculates a list of all the individual days where the week is not the full week, and then all the full weeks. So for instance, if I have a range that starts on Friday and then goes for 5 weeks and then goes to Monday, Tuesday for the following week. So in that multi-key predict list, I will have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then those 5 weeks, and then Monday, Tuesday. So that will be 7 values. But actually covering a range of 5 weeks, more than a month. And I will have this kind of calculation on both sides. Then I will have one more calculation, which on the beginning and end of the range, if there is just one day of a week, I will add also that whole week as an extra value. So the list will be either 1 or 2 values longer if there are like partial weeks. And again, I will have this second calculation on
So let
both
me help her out
sides.
real quick. So this right here is generated by one calc function, and that then gives you the results. And then there's a second calculated function. So technically, you could build this as calc 1, calc 2, and then the total collected results in a third calc that is actually this relationship, right? So this, right? I mean, you could do it probably 5 different ways, but just so people understand, am I right? You know what I'm saying? So this is a thought process of creating the week. These are the individual things that occur, and then you bring them together in here into one spot, right? Because it's really, it's one field, the result that we're connecting, right? You do this on both sides, right? That's kind of the thing. So I know he's saying a lot of things that imply some work here. So I'm trying to.
Or you can look at it. The first calc is this. So it just starts with here. If there is full 7 days, it adds them as a single value. Then it goes to the second week, and there are only 2 days. So instead of adding them as a single value for the whole week, it adds them individually. So that's the simple calculation that we started with. And then the modified calculation just adds this whole week as an extra value because there is at least 1 day of that week available. So there's this one. And we have both calcs, let's say calc A, calc B, on both in both tables. And then we build 2 relationships. One is matching calc A on left side to calc B on the right side. And the other one is matching calc B on the left side to calc A on the right side.
Yeah, questions. This is good stuff. This is really, HOnza, this is actually really excellent. And the reason is that the brand new people don't need this, but they know that they can dig deep and build things differently to take advantage of performance improvements. And the people who are farther along in their development career know that this exists. There's a number of there's like 3 techniques in here. Any one of these techniques might be enough to make your solution fast enough, right? Starting with just the fact that you don't use a range, but you break the range out in individual items and start with that, right? What happens?
Definitely.
Start with that. Good stuff. Really good stuff.
Yeah, no, people are saying this is a really creative response to a common problem. So
whenever you hang out like at a DEF CON or a Claris Engage or whatever we call it, or you go to like a pause on air or something, you get I'm going to say this you get like the Nicks, you get the HOnzas, you get the Christian Schmitz, the Todd guys, the Wim DeCourts, the Josh Ormonds, the Chris Moyers. These are like your top brainiac type people in the community. I didn't name all of them. I'm not picking anyone. There's probably 100 of these people total. And they really spend a lot of time doing deep thinking about this stuff and how to solve it better. Nick Orr with Base Elements is another great guy like that.
Like I said about optimizations being done over and over again, that's actually triggering creativity, because if you get a code and you're supposed to optimize it, it's an easy task, right?
Yeah.
So,
but what if you have good code? What if you have good code and you have to optimize it? Then what do you do?
Yeah. So you get optimize it, and that makes it better, right? Then if you take that better code and challenge yourself again, and you want to optimize it again, you get to be more creative with optimization. You got to find a smarter way how to make it faster. And if you do it again for the 3rd time, and for the 4th time, and for the 5th time, that's actually where it starts getting tough, and you really have to come up with complete new ideas, which you have to invent. So that's what was happening with this customer. He actually was pushing us to come with creative solutions, and that's the greatest thing about it.
Schmiegel says, okay, I'm going to read this out loud. Get ready, HOnza.
And just reading
there we go. I'm going to read out loud for everyone. Are you suggesting that you, HOnza, have 3 weeks worth of data with specific ranges on the left side being compared to another set of 3 weeks ranges on the right? Question mark. In this scenario, if one of the 3 weeks on the left aligns to the sets on the right, do you identify the corresponding days or keys for this matching week? Question mark. Once the matching days are found, you extract the keys from both sides. question mark. After identifying these records, you can move forward with the one-to-one relationships you're dealing with, question mark. I think this, in my mind, is a pretty close description. This is pretty close.
Okay, not really.
Which
So,
part's not really?
uh, so let's say in the database, I have just very simple data. And the data is like, here's some ID, I don't care. This equipment, which can be microphone. Then the other thing is count. 15, I need 15 microphones. Date start. I need them starting from 1st of January 2024. And I need them until 7th of February 2024. Okay. So this is a reservation request. And I have the exact same structure for existing reservations. And the goal, the task is to find, so let's say I can just get rid of this. So this is my request. And I have reservations.
Wait,
And
what's the difference between a request and a reservation?
so let's say I have 2 microphones reserved from 25th of December 2023 to the 2nd of January 2024. Then I have another reservation for 3 microphones starting from 5th of January to 17th of January 2024, and so on.
Yep.
I also have other reservations. So I am actually matching equipment to equipment. So obviously I don't care about collisions of microphones with speakers, for instance, or guitars. And then I need to find a match. So if I have third one here,
Just to clarify, so request and reservations, one of these is what you have available, and one of which is request for people to get them. Is that what we're looking at here?
exactly.
Is this the site up here? That one, is that right there? The availability, that's the demand, and that right there is available, or what you can unavailable. Okay.
So these are reservations. So those are already booked, or you can say bookings. Okay.
Bookings. Okay.
And obviously, because this is a date range from 1st of 7 January to 7 February, this one collides because this is still booked for the 1st and 2nd of January. This
Okay.
one also collides because it matches this range, is a sub range, but this one does not collide. So as a result that I'm looking for, and let's say I have another table which is total number of microphone I have available for rental. So let's say
that's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Okay, yes. Okay. That to me makes sense, because you have available, then all your requests to get those.
yeah,
right?
So then I have
Okay.
totals.
Yeah. Okay,
And
now it makes more sense, at least to me.
then I have, let's say, 35 microphones. So in this case, what I'm looking for is to get that total of 5 are booked, which cannot be available for this whole range. And I have 35 total. So I actually have 30 available, which means I can turn this demand to a booking. And that was the main goal. So and finding the match between this and this table is that problem that we were talking about. So I am actually turning this to a list of values, which in this case would be 7 values before we apply that optimization. And for instance, this range would be 5, 6, so like 9 values and so on.
This one up here at the top is not 7 values. That's what, 37 values or something like that.
Oh, yeah, February. You're right. So that's 30.
So if you take this and turn this
38.
into individual dates or get us numbers, you're gonna have 37 like values in a list here in a field like on F, right? So
Yes, exactly. But with the optimization, I can get the like 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 weeks. So that's 5 values represented whole weeks.
Yeah,
And
just
then
do them
just
as
a
weeks.
few, and then just 3 individual values for the 5th, 7th, 6th, and 7th of February.
Yeah. So there's the thought of breaking this down to individual days, but that's still not enough efficiency improvement. So then you collapse it instead of individual days, you have the associated weeks. Even if you're not sucking it up all that entire week, he's just kind of carpet bombing this. If it hits the week at all, it gets caught up.
And we can get further. For instance, if we are dealing with very long ranges, we can also incorporate the whole months or whole years or something as
yeah, you could do it that
level.
way.
So this way we can really make that list of values to compare through the relationship to very, very, very short.
David Angel asked if you use it using repeating fields. Repeating
Yes,
fields or
it works the same way, but it's harder to deal with repeating fields than with a single field with return delimited values.
With a delimited value, yeah. So technically, so David Angel's correct. This is a one-dimensional array is what we're building here, whether it's individual dates or it's a week in there, right? That kind of idea. It's a one-dimensional array. One-dimensional array can be either a repeating field, but it's hard to deal with that, or you have a delimited value list in one single field, one block of text.
And the way FileMaker evaluates relationships, it works the same way. So whether you have repeating field with multiple values, or whether have them all in a single field separated by character returns, the relationship works exactly the same way.
This is good stuff. All right. Well, we are running out of time here. We want to make sure that the questions have been asked and answered. There's multiple levels of optimization here. There's like 3 of them, right? Yeah. So at least 3, if not 4. But this is good stuff.
And this is a teaser for what we are going to reveal more about in 2 weeks from now.
Wait. I have a question. You've been pushing them to update their calculations. Are they actually listening to you and thinking about that?
What do you mean?
You've been pushing Claris Engineering to update their calculations to make them faster. Just because you asked for it doesn't mean they're going to listen to you. Are they listening to you?
Well, kind of. And this is because 24, which is this year is 2024, and 24 is kind of symbolic number for us. I got the idea to make it special year.
Okay.
And my goal for this year is to find a way how to make FileMaker calculations at least 24 times faster.
Okay.
So I like challenges, right? So this is my challenge for this year. By the way, it's exactly 40 years from Macintosh release.
Oh.
What today is, or that day will be?
January 24.
Okay.
Because Macintosh
the world's changed quite a bit since then, right?
Yeah. Macintosh was released January 24, 1984.
That's cool.
Oh, that's right. That Okay, so remind me, we're going to run that commercial. Okay, we'll run that commercial. The Macworld, the commercial with the lady flinging we'll run that commercial for everyone. We'll open that up. That'll be a good day. We should have that. Are you going to be on our show that day, or are you going to do something else? Wait, 24th. I'm on the show.
No, Christian is.
Christian is. All right. All right. Sorry, Honza. You're not allowed to announce anything on the 24th. You'll have to wait another day.
Well, or use different channels.
Oh, you could have your own channel, Honza's live streaming network.
Or maybe I convince Christian to announce it for us.
Well, you could come on the show. We could do a double twofer. You could have more than one person on the show. I'm okay with that. All right. Well, that's
Thank you,
it for today, everyone.
Thank you,
Good stuff,
Honza.
Margaret.
Yeah, this has been awesome. People think
Actually,
this is
been really
very
good.
cool.
Yeah,
So,
pretty good.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!